In the windswept mountains of prehistoric Central Asia, where jagged peaks pierced the clouds and survival meant respecting the laws of nature, there lived a girl named Zara. She was 12 winters old, daughter of her tribe's best climber and rope maker. Her people lived in cliff dwellings carved into mountainsides, existing in harmony with the harsh vertical world. Zara had inherited her father's fearlessness with heights and her mother's quick thinking, but she had not yet learned the most important lesson, that some boundaries exist for good reason. That spring had been crueler than any in living memory. Late snows buried the mountain passes, trapping the tribe in their high valley. The ibex and mountain goats they normally hunted had migrated to lower elevations beyond reach. Fish in the mountain streams were scarce, still dormant from winter cold. The tribe's stored food from the previous autumn was nearly gone. Children cried from hunger, and the elderly grew weaker each day. Zara's younger brother, only 6 years old, had stopped playing, spending his days listlessly staring at nothing, his small body consuming itself. Zara watched her family suffer with growing desperation. She was old enough to understand their situation, but too young to accept helplessness. One morning, while gathering what few edible plants grew at this altitude, she spotted something that made her heart race with desperate hope. High on a cliff face, perhaps 30 meters above the valley floor, a massive nest clung to a ledge. And not just any nest. This was the eyrie of a golden eagle pair, the largest raptors in their world. Zara knew these eagles. Everyone in the tribe knew them. They returned to the same nest every spring, and the tribe gave them respectful distance. Eagles were sacred, her father had taught her. They were hunters like humans, survivors like humans, parents like humans. To disturb their nest was to invite disaster. But Zara also knew that eagle eggs were large, nutritious, and that the nest likely contained 2 or 3 of them. One egg could feed her brother for 2 days. The thought consumed her. She watched the nest for 3 days, learning the eagles' patterns. Both parents hunted during midday when thermal currents were strongest, leaving the nest unguarded for brief windows. The male, slightly smaller, with a distinctive white patch on his tail, would leave first, circling higher and higher until he disappeared towards the southern valley. The female, massive, with a wingspan of nearly 3 meters, would leave 20 minutes later, hunting in the opposite direction. This gave Zara perhaps an hour before one parent returned. On the 4th day, Zara made her decision. She told no one, knowing they would stop her. Before dawn, she took her father's climbing rope, woven from mountain goat hair, strong enough to hold his weight, and the bone hooks he used for scaling cliff faces. She approached the cliff as the sun rose, watching the eagles through gaps in the rocks. Right on schedule, the male departed, spiraling upward on morning thermals. Then the female. Zara's window had opened. She began climbing. The cliff face was vertical in places, overhanging in others, but Zara had climbed since she could walk. She found handholds in cracks, footholds on tiny ledges. She hammered bone hooks into crevices, threaded rope through them, creating safety anchors as her father had taught her. The height didn't frighten her. She had climbed higher cliffs before. What frightened her was the ticking clock in her mind. 40 minutes to climb, 10 minutes at the nest, 40 minutes to descend. The margins were terrifyingly thin. She reached the nest ledge with her muscles burning and lungs gasping the thin mountain air. The nest was enormous, 2 meters across, built from branches thick as her arm, lined with soft grass and animal fur. And there in the center were 3 eggs. They were beautiful, pale cream-colored with reddish-brown speckles, each larger than her fist, warm to the touch. She had never seen anything so perfect, so vulnerable, so valuable. Zara's hands trembled as she reached for the first egg. Every instinct screamed that this was wrong. These were someone's children, but hunger has a voice louder than conscience. She carefully placed one egg in the leather bag tied to her waist, cushioning it with grass from the nest. Then she reached for a second. As her fingers touched it, she heard something that turned her blood to ice, a piercing shriek from above. She looked up. The female eagle was returning early, diving towards the nest at incredible speed. Zara grabbed the second egg desperately, shoved it in her bag, and scrambled off the nest ledge just as the eagle struck. Massive talons, each one as long as Zara's fingers, designed to crush the spines of foxes and young deer, raked across her back, shredding her leather clothing and cutting deep into skin. The pain was blinding. Zara screamed, nearly losing her grip on the cliff face. The eagle circled and dove again. This time Zara saw her coming. She pressed herself flat against the rock, making herself as small as possible. The eagle's talons scraped stone centimeters from her head, the wind from those massive wings nearly tearing her from the cliff. The eagle's shriek was deafening, not just aggression, but anguish. Zara had heard that sound before, when a wolf killed a lamb near the millage. It was the sound of a mother discovering her children endangered. Zara tried to climb down, but the eagle gave her no chance. Again and again the bird attacked. Zara couldn't fight back. She needed both hands to hold the cliff. She couldn't go up. The nest was a death trap now. She couldn't go down. The eagle blocked her path. She was pinned to the cliff face, bleeding from multiple cuts, with 2 stolen eggs in her bag and a furious mother eagle determined to kill her. In desperation, Zara worked her way sideways along a narrow ledge toward a small cave opening she had noticed during her climb. The eagle dove again. Zara felt talons sink into her shoulder, felt herself being pulled away from the cliff. She screamed and swung her body violently, and the talon grip released. She dove into the cave opening, squeezing through a gap barely wide enough for her body. Inside, the cave was shallow, only 2 meters deep, but the opening was too small for the eagle to enter. The eagle landed at the cave entrance, screaming in rage and grief. She was magnificent up close. Golden brown feathers, fierce yellow eyes, hooked beak designed to tear flesh, talons opening and closing flexibly. She pushed her head into the cave entrance, beak snapping, trying to reach Zara, but she couldn't fit, so she settled at the entrance, blocking it completely, waiting. Zara pressed herself against the back of the cave, clutching her bleeding shoulder. The eggs in her bag were miraculously intact. She had what she came for, but now she was trapped, injured, and being hunted by one of nature's most relentless predators. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. The eagle never left. Occasionally, her mate would arrive, bringing prey, a marmot, a hare, and they would trade places, but the nest was never unguarded, the cave entrance never unblocked. As afternoon turned to evening,